2,000 is a number that I never really gave much thought to until I started playing Warhammer. Now I know it to be the sacred number that we build our precious lists to, and more importantly, the number that these tournament organizers adhere to. But I don't know, should they? Today I've put together a few thoughts on why I personally think that 1,500 may just be a better number. I'm Riley, and today is another chapter of Command Re-Swole.
1,500 points makes the game much more accessible. This isn't even just a point for new or newer players. Lower point values incentivize longtime players to dabble with other factions. This is even more true with the ongoing trend of Age of Sigmar models growing more and more, we'll say beautiful, but by that I mean busy. Show me a person with a fully painted 2,000 point army of Cities of Sigmar, especially with those new models, and I'll show you someone with a healthy income and an exhausted commission painter on speed dial. They didn't paint that shit. And for the one viewer that did fully paint their 2,000 point cities list, who's about to brag about it in the comments section, great job, buddy, that's actually incredible. Every unit means much more at lower point values. With large 2,000 plus point battles, the game gets to a point where models getting picked off doesn't make you feel anything. What's the point of playing when you don't feel that rush of victory when you take out that key unit on the other side of the table, or the painful sting of the favor getting returned? If you blast away my Helver in the way things are now, that's fine, I got 6 more. It's a big shrug. The board is too small for 2,000 point games to feel truly tactical. There's not enough terrain to engage meaningfully with all of your units. More often than not, your front row is just there to be cannon fodder, and while screening can be fun and strategic, most of us have jobs and, lives, and trying to fit a pickup game of 2,000 points or more after work on a Wednesday just isn't doable when you have a horde of units that aren't even really there to contribute in an interesting or meaningful way. They're just models that you put hundreds of hours into making beautiful, only to have them mowed down by a boring wall of tanks or battle suits, whatever. Next up, we've lost count of the number of games where deployment zones are literally too small for our or our opponent's army to fit at 2,000 points. And even in most games when your army can fit into your deployment zone, there's only so many meaningful, strategic places to put your models. Some of them are inevitably going to be left sitting out in the open, and your 1 CP for Armor of Contempt or All-Out Defense can only do so much. Finally, it's worth mentioning that most people we know that play games like Old World and Horus Heresy tend to save the max point size just for the big narrative events, and when playing with friends they tend to prefer lower counts. This is of course anecdotal, and I can't speak to the preference of players of these games at large, but it was a thought we figured was worth sharing and figured that there was a reason for that. Maybe it's some of the reasons I've listed already.
I could go on, but I just wanted to reinforce what I feel like not enough people are saying. 2,000 points does not have to be the only valid level of play. When we started our Age of Sigmar tournaments in Pittsburgh, people seemed to have a blast starting out at 1,000 points. And we progressively moved up from there to 1,500 points to give people more time to paint up things and hobby on things and try new things. It didn't seem any less fun than regular 2,000 point tournaments, and honestly I think when you constantly downplay the legitimacy of lower point values, it drives potential players away from the player base, and it just gatekeeps current players from trying new things. But that's all I got for you today. I've been Riley, this has been Swolehammer. Stay swole.